And from there, you, before we move on to another project, why do you say she is a great career manager? I'm interested in this topic. I'm interested in this topic. Talk a little about this. Her vision, like how she thinks, where she's going. What's the texture of the album? What do you really consider a great career manager?
Look, several things really. First, she has always been a great researcher of music, of all styles. So she has a father who is very connected to Portela, who is Carlos. So she inherited this thing from samba, from the great samba composers, pioneers and such. And at the same time, she also has her pop side, which, and she started finding the composers she liked. She began to compose, and then she came to do something that is wonderful, which was what Tim Maya dreamed of doing and managed to do with Saroma, right? To own your own records, to own your phonograms. Imagine, this is a revolutionary thing. Tim Maya was the first guy who thought of this. But, well, it's about being the owner because you record an album at the record label and the label owns it forever, right? And of course you have the structure that the record label offers you for music videos, for I even had in my first contract tour support. There was money for tour support, money for music videos. I still caught the tail end of the record labels with money still. Like, my contract was really good with Universal and so on. But I think that there I had the great idea to create her own label. And she recovered and took everything, all the records, the phonograms are hers. And she always took care with the shows, like, people always know that there will be, besides the music, the sound is perfect. There will be some kind of set design something incredible will happen, right? Projections. She started to work with projections and find partners too in art, like in set design stage of so whenever a new tour of hers was coming, people already knew that something was going to come. It was different, right? Different, yes. And she always dedicated herself a lot, right, man? That she sang and went to study singing in Rome. Yes, lived there alone, studying singing, and so on. And then I think all this experience, she knew how to shape very well, like her personality, this thing with samba, with pop, with the composers. Then she became a great composer too. Started playing instruments she didn't play before, and really cool like that. So I think
she was evolving too, right? Never stuck, complacent, right, man?
Exactly.
And she really has a career that, besides her being, I think it's like this. She is very respected, right? Everyone respects her a lot. And whoever is a fan of Marisa is a big fan, right, man? The impression I have is that she doesn't need to release anything new, that what she's already done is enough for her. But even so, she keeps betting on new things. That really is very interesting. It's like the person marries their career, right, man? And is seeking a renewal of the marriage.
Or now, man, we took some tours of 45 days with bus trips, like 25 hours, 18 hours, 15 hours. And she with us there on the road. We were saying, oh, wow, man, if she wanted, she could be on a private jet. She with the group, like, always like to go with the group, and very pleasant folks. Very, very, it's an environment, always an environment. The whole crew that works there, because you're going to live on the road. That's even something good for us to talk about too, right? On the road, when you're at work, you spend almost as much or even more time with those people than with your family, like, right? So the secret of the road, what is it? It's having a good relationship, man. So first thing, okay, play well, But if you play really well and are a bore, it won't work, right? Complaining about everything, whatever. Because the road has its challenges. Two, sometimes, flights get delayed. It happens. I don't know. You arrive at a place and they didn't fulfill, they didn't provide the amplifier you asked for, or didn't provide other things that were requested. They didn't fulfill, but the contract, something we have to manage with what. But the big secret of the road is this, that I consider myself very lucky with Caetano. It was wonderful. We had a wonderful relationship. Everyone. Yeah. I learned that this was as important as playing well. I understand. Because people choose Caetano, Marisa, they are artists who can afford the luxury of choosing who they want to be around, right? And they can call musicians from anywhere in the world. They can call, so you feel proud to be called for your music, for your guitar, but also for being a pleasant person to be around, to travel with, to spend 3 years on the road.
You mentioned that you learned this because at some point, what did you notice? Do you think that at some point you didn't have the right attitude? Or did you see musicians not having the right attitude and you thought, whoa?
Yes, I saw many musicians, the greatest in Brazil, truly brilliant like that. Black belt level, losing opportunities because of sometimes, because sometimes there's also a here, also putting both sides of the thing, right? Sometimes there's also an artist who is wonderful, but doesn't have a good production, doesn't treat people well, doesn't respect the crew properly. So it turns into a little war between the production and the band, When that happens, it becomes a snowball effect. Damn, then everyone starts getting in a bad mood, complaining, and so on. Back in the years, like the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up to the 90s, there weren't so many. You would lose for example, you would lose a great musician, a great bassist, a great drummer, or a great wind instrument player, and replacing them wasn't so easy because the great ones were already occupied with the artists so people, sometimes acted up a lot and weren't fired because there was no way to replace that part at that level. Nowadays it's different. Nowadays, if you don't arrive on time, don't arrive, right? Arrive well, arrive willing, arrive cool, in a good mood, and with this mentality of, not complaining about things, that kind of, you end up losing space. So since I have been around musicians a lot from a very young age, man, I saw it happen. Like the greatest musicians who I was a big fan of, the guys who toured the world, who played in the best gigs, ended up losing space because, so-and-so plays well, but I can't call him because he left me hanging here. I don't know how. Or he showed up one day all messed up, showed up. So I had this insight, I had already been seeing this with my dad during my upbringing there. And when I hit the road, I also had the opportunity to live with a group of people who also set good examples for me in this regard, right? My father was also a very good example of this. My father was very much a partner with the band members. My father, sometimes he would gather the group, take some money from 2 shows like this. Guys, let's go. Does everyone want to buy new equipment? Then he would take Marcelo Falcão, who was one of his managers at the time, and also a great friend, to New York, get a container for everyone, and choose what. He would advance the money for everyone to buy what they wanted, and everyone would get new instruments arriving by ship. Even my grandfather helped. My grandfather worked at the port customs. So my grandfather, the musicians, meet the guys, Fernando Moura, a great keyboardist, my partner. Man, he has a collection of keyboards at home. He says, man, this here, this here, this here. Look, all thanks to your grandfather who helped me. Yeah. So there was this partnership, you know, of the artist when the artist plays along with the band, man. When it's not that artist who arrives, it's the band that freezes, gets all tense. I don't really believe in this mode. It happens a lot, but I couldn't, for example, work in a gig where the person thinks that you're going to function based on fear, on tension, right? Because music doesn't tension has nothing to do with music, right, man? So, well, I worked for 3 years with Caetano. Caetano never had this. He would arrive like this. He was the calmest of all. Then you feel even more obliged to do everything right, not to be late, not to do anything wrong, because the guy, well, is very polite, right? Very polite people. So, yeah, that's the secret. That's the secret.
But you never got a scolding either, did you?
Man, thank God.
Never?
Thank God, no. No, sometimes there were people who had meetings like to sort out one thing or another. Volume, I don't know what. For example, now, before Enyaya, sometimes, well, the band had to help the singer, right? Or the female singer. If we messed too much with the amplifiers, the things. But now, for example, now, I look at this luxury, this last tour with Marissa, I could choose whichever amplifier I wanted, man. Iran, who works in our part, set up for me. Here, a wonderful list. I got a Marshall 59 reissue, signed by Jim Marshall like this, right? Man, it's wonderful to have an amp like that. But we put a Hoyer and a Sennheiser 90 me back there facing. And then all good. I had a headphone made top. I had to invest in the headphones because Marissa herself told me, look, it's no use bringing the best guitar if the headphones aren't really right.
Did you have the headphones made?
I had them made. I had to spend some money.
How much is a headphone like that?
Man, a good headphone is like in the range of starts from 3,000 and up, like that.
Some people are talking about headphones cost 20 grand.
No, with 3 grand you can get a headphone that allows you to you'll have the sound of your guitar.
Authentic.
Yeah. And of the band without that compression, that simpler headphones have, you know, that with the frequencies, you really feel it. And then you can put the amp facing backwards. All good, right? But thank God I've never missed a flight, never caused trouble for anyone, right? At that time, for example, during my first stint with Marissa, we were already married and everything. And, well, I was friends with everyone, treated everyone equally, was friends with Kaneko, the guitarist. We guitarists have this reputation of having rivalries with each other. We were the ones who hung out the most, man. So all of this is also a big example from my dad, you know, man. My dad has always treated everyone equally. Like, example speaks louder than words, right? We always remember that, right? So what I saw there, I ended up being able to repeat, and this, along with my musicality, always goes hand in hand, right? For people to know that these are things that go together. Sometimes there's a guy who plays really well. There's a guy there who plays. This one plays better than that one, but this one is annoying. This one is... the nice one ends up winning. Oh, yes.
Man, and you being very honest, right? Any gig you do with a singer, male or female, you'll be playing there, man, at a much lower percentage of your total capacity as a musician.
Exactly. You touched on a very important point. You don't have to try to show all your potential there. You have to do your best. I'm there to do my best for Marissa, and my best for Marissa will be the best for that, and will make me, you'll stand out in that show in that way, right? Yes. With Caetano, it's the same thing. Of course, there are shows where there are setups where you can stand out more, others less. And then the advantage of each having their own work is that in your own work, you can really bring out other things too.
This point, we talk about it a lot here because there are many people who look at a sideman's career and misunderstand the career. This homework that the guy does, practicing, having good equipment, that's obvious. Everyone can see that, right? I know I have to play well. I have to have a nice sound, a tuned guitar. I have to have the right sounds, the appropriate tones. But it's not easy to notice something that no one sees, which is the interaction. No one is seeing the interaction among the musicians. And then you might get an opportunity like this and ruin it for yourself. Because you said it, man. It's about not complaining, even though sometimes you have the right to complain. Because sometimes you arrive and say, man, the speaker is blown, brother. How am I supposed to play with this amplifier? But that's what you have. What are you going to do? Are you not going to play? Exactly. Are you going to stay and tell the singer, hey, look, man, let me tell you something. You're kidding me with this respect, man. The amplifier is bad. The singer might understand, but he'll say, man, I'm worried about 300 other things here.
Exactly. And my father always performed everywhere, whether it was a theater, a public square, or a cattle fair. Man, my father always went straight to every place. So I look at the map of Brazil like this, man. It's hard to see a city we haven't been to, So I owe a lot to him for that, because it's another lesson I learned. When we arrive, especially in smaller cities, and in Kataz too, but in smaller cities like that, where the sound system is more, man, nowadays people already have equipment. But when we arrived, the first thing I would ask the producer for was the names of the technicians. And you arrive talking to the crew that's there, who set up the stage, and the sound technical team. You greet everyone. Man, good afternoon. You're in the guy's city. You're getting on the stage. There are people who get on and don't even look, right? Then the guys they get startled that you're talking to them like that. And then when you get to the microphone, you call the technician by name. Man, the guy you've won the guy over. The guy can't believe it. He says, wow. You see that it's a sign? It's basic home-taught manners, right? You learn your doorman's name, talk to him, ask if he's doing well, pass by. You pass by the doorman every day, and you're not going to say anything to the guy? I tell my daughter this, son. The doorman always talk to her, then she's like, son, this is our friend, our guardian. He's here watching over our house. He helps us. He's a partner. Then she learned this thing. She passes by, always talks to the guys, always. So these things, when you bring the technical team to you, man, it's the same thing the other way around. You arrive without talking to anyone, then you already complain about something when you spoke. The guys then, what do they say? I'm not going to help this guy with anything. He's here treating me badly, damn. He already arrives complaining about my sound, didn't even ask. So this knack is fundamental, like arriving.
It's because you said there's an escalation of mistreatment. It's like marriage. You'll have a bad day with your wife. You'll unintentionally offend her. She'll offend you back, and it escalates. It gets worse.
Like marriage, in the sense that, there can be rough patches. Crises can happen, but if you don't lose respect, you'll always have a chance to come back, to reconcile, right? If you lose respect, so that's when things go wrong, right? Because you might not be able to come back because respect is lost. At work, I think it's the same thing, right, man?
Yeah, there's no way around it.